There are goats gamboling in the grasses along the side of the road as we make our way north, reminding us that curry goat is a Jamaican tradition. Some Jamaicans argue that a party is not a real party unless there's curry goat. We sample it at Bellefield Great House, an 18th century plantation that offers a trip into Jamaica's past. General Manager and native Jamaican Michelle Rousseau's culinary background allows her to present the Jamaican classics like curry goat with new twists.
So we cooked the goat outside on a coal pot stove, and when we're finishing it, after we've cooked it in that traditional fashion, we add some coconut milk, which would not traditionally be used in the way that Jamaicans would prepare curry goat. We season it with a bit of ginger to bring in some of that East Indian influence as well, and then we put fresh mango and some white rum in there. And for presentation purposes, we serve it with a coconut rice pilaf, but we also serve some curried chickpeas and then the whole slew of fresh chutneys and salsas and relishes and garnishes that really are more present in Caribbean cuisine in places like Trinidad, but would not traditionally be eaten here. So we did a really nice papaya salsa and a fresh banana and mango chutney and pickled onions and some cucumber and in yogurt, and really a variety of things. So we believe that you should be able to create the flavor of your own dish. So what we're going to do is really demonstrate for you today a traditional dish of Jamaican curry goat. It's considered the second most popular national dish. I would say after ackee and saltfish, it's probably the most consumed dish locally. And it is the perfect example of fusion cuisine from the 1800s, because goats were existing in Jamaica very early on, but were prohibited from the plantations, and slaves were not allowed to own goats, although they could own sheep and cows and pigs and other animals. And they were consumed mostly by after the immigration of indentured laborers from India, who consumed a lot of mutton in India, and so they brought with them the technique of curry, and the two merged, and it's now become a very classic dish in Jamaica today. It's something that we use for a lot of festive occasions, at wakes or what they call 9 nights, but also at the end of a construction site or in any big celebration. They will kill a goat and have what you call a goat feed, and make a coal pot curry goat, which is what we're going to demonstrate today, as well as manish water, which is a soup that takes the innards of the goat and all of the intestines and makes a very hearty, tasty soup with pumpkin and seasonings and spices and typical Caribbean flavors. So we'll do a traditional version, and then we'll show you ways to modernize the dish as well. So here we have some local mutton or goat, what they used to call kid mutton back in the day. So we are going to marinate that, typically with some salt, pepper, a little bit of garlic, thyme, and some curry powder. And cooking in Jamaica is like a process that is an ongoing, long process. We actually start the process of cooking a couple of days before we intend to cook the dish, unless you're cooking a fresh slaughtered piece of meat, which we don't do. So we would marinate it and have it sit for a while. A little bit more curry to that. Now I'm not actually going to use a Scotch bonnet to marinate the goat, because I'm going to add it to the dish itself while I'm cooking. So that would sit for at least 3 or so hours, and then now we have a nice Dutch pot over here on a coal flame. So I'm adding a little bit of coconut oil. We're going to add the goat meat, which we're going to brown slightly. It really is a sort of a stew, but when I like to do it, I like to sear the meat first because it brings out the flavor a bit more. And to that, we shall add some diced onion, a little bit of diced garlic. I like to add ginger, although traditionally they don't, so I'll add a little ginger to that. Scotch bonnet. Now, depending on how hot you like it, you can play with that quantity. Thyme is a must. The 4 basic seasonings in Jamaican cooking that must be in everything: scallion, thyme, tomato, Scotch bonnet pepper. Our version of a mirepoix, I guess. The difficult thing about a coal fire is that you can't control the heat, but the good thing is that it gets really nice and hot. So then to that now I'm going to add a little bit of more curry powder, which I'll allow to cook a bit. and some scallion. So you can already kind of smell it coming together, but it's really quite, it's a dish that, you know, when you had a whole goat would sit and stew from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. they say, and then it would be served no earlier than 1:30 after we had, the people had been able to consume a minimum of 4 glasses of rum. So they were well hungry, as it says in one of an old recipe that I found for curry goat, and they were, I think, well tipsy is what I would say after 4 glasses of rum on an empty stomach. So add a little salt and pepper there, and then to that, to thicken it, we use some potato. Traditionally, you would have used maybe, you know, cocoa or you can use any sort of ground provision, but we're using Irish potato. So when we add water to this now and it cooks down, that helps to thicken the stew. And then some carrots. Really very simple. All of the flavor comes in the cooking process. So we'll add a little bit of water to that just to cover. Bring that to a boil. And then let it simmer for a good number of hours, at least 2 hours to 3 hours, so the meat gets nice and tender. So this is what we have after we've simmered the goat for about 2 hours. And this is absolutely perfect to serve as it is. You can just adjust the seasoning with salt and pepper, but if you want to make it into more of like a modern nouvelle type flavored dish, we add a little bit of white rum, just a touch, because a lot of it will evaporate anyway. And we add a little bit of coconut milk powder, because traditionally it would not be cooked with coconut milk, but it really just gives the sauce some depth of flavor. And I like to add some fresh diced mango and let that stew down for maybe another 45 minutes. It lightens the color of the goat a bit, but it really gives it a slight sweetness to the dish that traditionally is not how it would be eaten. So this is a breadfruit which came off of our tree right here on the estate, and it came to Jamaica with Captain Blythe from Tahiti. It looks like this green, but it has a sort of meaty, soft fruit center that we roast on an open flame, and it gets really charred and lovely, and then you have this texture which is like the texture of bread, thus I think the name breadfruit. But we would serve this typically with a little bit of butter, fresh, hot roasted from the fire. If you have old breadfruit, you can fry it, and it can make great breadfruit chips, and it's really nice on the side of a little bit of curry, so because it sops up that gravy in a most delicious way. Let's serve up this curry goat now, because we have this lovely breadfruit to sop up all of the delicious gravy with the coconut milk and the mango and the Local goat can be a bit bony, so you have to mind the bones when you eat, but it's worth every bite. So here you go, Jamaican curry goat with roasted breadfruit done on a coal pot fire right here at Bellefield Great House.